So a couple of hours ago, I was in Wickes, waiting to be served behind another lady minding my own business. The lady in front of me was waiting for the manager minding her own business. But then, of course, the manager eventually came along to speak to the lady, and data protection issues aside, although they didn't reveal any names or anything else, they did discuss what she had come into the store to discuss. And me being a typical Brit nosy Parker could overhear, whether I wanted to or not, what the conversation was all about. And after the conversation, I really wanted to intervene, to start asking questions, because this is kind of what I do. I hear a problem and I hear the discussion about the problem, and it really started to annoy me as to what the real root cause of this issue was. Now, alas, I didn't really get to the bottom of it because, for reasons I'll explain in a moment, but I didn't get all of the full details from that bit of conversation because the manager was, fairly dismissive of the lady's complaint. Now, I was very, very tempted to tell the lady to hang around so that I could have a quick chat with her, to ask her some questions and then give her some guidance, not legal advice, you understand, because I wouldn't be formally instructed, but nonetheless. But I thought I would come back and do a video on this issue because she can't be the only one to have come across this issue. And if I put enough tags and stuff in the comments, YouTube and Google might do its thing and she might end up seeing this video by way of guidance. Now, the core of the problem was this, at least that I could deduce from the bits of conversation that took place. She bought some paint from Wickes a few weeks beforehand. All I can deduce from the conversation was that somehow it spilt all over the back of her car. And whilst she said, now this isn't a Range Rover or a Ferrari or anything, she said it did cause significant damage to the back of the car, and she was seeking compensation. She'd written to customer services who had said, you need to go into the store to discuss it. But they also said, we can't be liable for it because we didn't deliver it. So into the store she went to discuss it, and the manager said, no, you need to take that up with customer services. And that was really the end of the conversation, because the store manager, or deputy manager, I think she called herself, didn't have anything more to say about it, and frankly didn't really seem interested. She seemed somewhat sympathetic about the situation, but only just enough so that it wasn't a tense conversation. But nonetheless, she said that it was nothing to do with the store. She needs to go back to customer services. So the lady left feeling somewhat underwhelmed with the response and having no choice but to go back to customer services and say, well, I really need this sorting out. Now, I can only assume, I might be wrong, but I can only assume that the paint spilled in the back of her car because of a fault or a defect with the tub of paint or whatever. Now, most paint, as it happened, I was there to swap a tub of paint because I bought the wrong one. I bought silk instead of matte. So I was there to swap one. So I'm no stranger to paint and painting for that matter. And every time I've taken the lid off a tub of paint, I don't know about you, let me know in the comments, but I've found it not entirely falling off. You have to put some kind of strength into it. Even the plastic ones. The metal ones, definitely not coming off without some kind of leverage like a screwdriver. But even the plastic tubs, they do take some kind of pulling, and they've got some kind of traction. So two possible scenarios. It was either broken, or it had already been taken off and hadn't been put back on properly, and thus somehow ended up spilling all over the back of her car. So at the end of the day, who is to blame here? Well, the response that I heard from customer services was, we cannot be responsible for it as a store because we didn't deliver it. You picked it up from store. I also recall her saying that it's your responsibility to check the items before you leave the store, which to a degree is true. You do have the opportunity to inspect items before you leave the store, but if there's something that you cannot see, such as the lid has already been removed and hasn't been replaced properly, and that hasn't been brought to your attention, regardless of whether they really knew about it in the store or not, if there is a problem, they need to draw your attention to it. And if the average person would not see that there was a problem with that lid, and there is a problem with it, then it is very arguable that it is not fit for purpose. And therefore, it's a breach of contract under consumer rights regulations, assuming she was shopping as a consumer. With respect to her, she looked like she was shopping as a consumer as opposed to a tradesperson. And therefore, she would, in that scenario, be able to claim compensation against Wickes for the damage to the vehicle. If, on the other hand, she just stacked them all up in her car, there was actually nothing wrong with it, and because of the bad way that she'd stacked them, if that was the case, they tipped over and that caused the lid to pop off, which is entirely possible, then I would side with Wickes. It's absolutely not Wickes' fault, not Wickes' problem. But I thought this was an interesting video just to throw out there as a bit of guidance for these commonplace scenarios that no lawyer's ever realistically going to get involved with unless, you know, we're talking a pallet load on the back of a lorry and then we've got suddenly thousands of pounds worth of stuff. But I thought that'd be interesting. Let me know if you've had something similar in the comments, and I'll see you next time.